Friday night already, time to get this weekend started. Punch out that clock and whack it just like that quickly departed. I'm on a mission and make sure that you pay that mission. The greatest show on earth started and I know y'all wishing to be a part of what's happening while I'm rapping, I'm tapping. The back of my rhymes to steadily get them hands a clapping. What's cracking? San Diego native stacking. And if you ain't about that grinding, it's your skills that's slacking. I'm snacking, lows, left to right with pretty toes. The kind of women that be making others spend their dough. You know, cash, gas, nobody rides for free unless they making power moves up in this industry. My chest will stay on point. I'm not here playing checkers. I roll with MCs, DJs, and hard hitters. Don't feel that lyric pressure. Find it quite hard to measure. But let me elevate your mind with this Dago treasure. 9 times out of 10, y'all gon' tell a friend. That's the one who brought hip hop back again. Bring some ice. Roll one, pass it twice, then hit the stage, but you know I'm dynamite. Yeah, I said it. T to the H to the U embedded. Go deep in your mind frame, just gotta look up just to see where I'm headed. I'm headed to the front door, I'm sure got to get my rolling papers. Cause when it's time to get high, the whole rock's up in vapors. 1 puff, 2 puff, 3. Everybody look at eyes on me. It's from the late night wild and now I get some head for free. This biz is so amazing. I'm not the one complaining. I'm just an MC on the microphone that's entertaining. Walking with guns a-blazing. Spit fire, hell is racing. And when I'm done, it's singing, bailing out with white flag waving. Mayday, yeah, this shit is going down. Only in California where we keep it underground. Zombie apocalyptic, my shit is so encrypted. Some people call me Santa Claus because they say I'm gifted. And I know, you know, we gon' keep this party going until the sun starts to shine, the weed and drinks is flowing. 9 times out of 10, y'all gon' tell a friend. This one right here got the hip-hop element. Drinks on ice, roll one, pass it twice. It's a show, cause you know it's dynamite. 9 times out of 10, y'all gon' tell a friend. This one right here got the hip-hop element. Drinks on ice, roll one, pass it twice. It's a show, cause you know it's dynamite.
Keep up with you. I stay running after you. I'll be on your line. It's hard to keep track of you. Girl, I can't keep up. If you ask me, I'm down. I promise I'll try, but I can't keep up. I can't keep up with you.
Diva, I'm the 5'5" cutie, brown eyes, tight booty, round thighs. In the studio, my mic sounds nice. In and out, then I bounce like
I can't keep up with you.
I don't be where y'all go. Y'all know I got raw flow that takes me round the world like where's Waldo? Flexing, texting, so fashioned X-spin. Next him, cause my phone is my best friend. I get the most love on the worst app, but I was liking all your thirst traps. You DM slide, so I flirt back, and now we hanging like my purse strap. Then it's like, tell your ex take a dirt nap. Hashtag with your bird ass. First class, I deserve that. I had to let him go because he think the earth flat.
I stay running after you. I'll be on your line. It's hard to keep track of you. Girl, I can't keep up. If you ask me, I'm down. I promise I'll try, but I can't keep up. I can't keep up with you.
Who you loving? Who you wanna be hugging? You be bugging, you just gonna keep fronting, acting like you ain't missing this. I only took you back cause I listen to sis. If you lucky, I'll bring you on tour with me. Yes, I'm a diva, I be on my foreign thing, eating eggs Florentine while we quarantine. And that night the room looking like a horror scene. That's right, looking like you got body. I do the trust fall, knowing that God got me. Pot brownies and hot toddies. In the sauna playing Sade and Bob Marley. You probably can't keep up with the diva. I grab my passport and visa. I'll leave ya gone somewhere with my feet in my weaver. High on life, weed and tequila.
I stay running after you. I'll be on your line. It's hard to keep track of you. Girl, I can't keep up.
More shocking than the EKG. Young Kilo G, yeah, you know me. Beat door with the master key. Doors stay on the floor, cause I've been low key. I'm the hometown hero. I am hard as a spear throw. Fly as a paratroop. Dropping straight in your ear hole. If you don't use your ears, what the heck is you here for? I could die if I cry, but I won't shed a tear though. How you stop a black man from voting? Jail. Send him there with no knowledge of self. Create schools that are more like cells. Destroy his manhood and he surely will fail. Harder than braille, hard to swallow like kale. Man, I know myself, and I know very well. Aim like William Tell, as if you can tell. Man, I'm flow so hot, I burn the devil in hell. Blowing like CB4, still on E14. The game want my soul, my brother's still on parole. I told my mama I don't do what I'm told, I just do what I know. Amaranth from the way that I grow. One ring like Frodo, around the world like a yo-yo. Boy, I stay in the dojo, and they can't take my mojo. Man, the flow is for loco, evil like Mojo Jojo. No coon like Domo, freestyle pro bono. Caliber like Gallagher, with my Excalibur. This the Final Fantasy, hit fools with my magica. Shoot like Gallagher, crawl like Tarantula. I'm the main character, and there's that Brannigan. Internet was made by a black man. I'm not Al Gore, I'm that man. Sealing sucker's face with the fat man. Hard to kill like a samurai on his last stand. With his last hand in the last dance. It's your last chance. Thinking in advance when you die. Truths or lies, no alibis. This is the present moment, don't be surprised.
Yeah, hey, we all got choices, but I choose to learn. Rather learn the course first than to crash and burn. Think before I speak, that's how I make my turn. Every step is calculated, battleship, kill confirmed. Build a skill and I whip it like a pistol. Make my shot and I pop Rob Driscoll. To the top, I might beat it for a while. And party like a rock star, I am a wild child. But catch a vibe, slow ride, going down 6. When I roll through deep waters, people jump ship. Life a crazy wave and I got a long trip. I ain't tripping off those people who ain't on it. Better make your mark, make your mark. Keep doing what you do, let that take you far. So I'm steady, rolling, be on my guard. But I'm still chilling like a villain, burn riding in my car. Hey, like one, like two. It's a burn ride, what you tryna do? Spitting knowledge, homie, what you got to prove? We gon' ride, feeling right, yeah, we always on the move. Like one, like two. It's a burn ride, what you tryna do? Spitting knowledge, homie, what you got to prove? We gon' ride, feeling right, yeah, we always on the move. I go long distance like an arrow. Told my mama I can't always be on straight and narrow. She don't get that, but she know I get an arrow. Don't make me pull your card like a tarot. Magically profusive, verbally abusive. Only on the track that's gon' slap, no excuses. With all that old thinking, ain't surprised they ruin. Ancient, the hardest of ruin, how I moving. They follow the path that they know has been proven. I'ma hit it hard, no regard to eagles bruising. No, I won't stop till my piggy bank protruding. Never ending story, I am the conclusion. Y'all rejected red pill stuck in an illusion. Goku in the Vegeta, about to hit a fusion. From daylight to 1 a.m., I'm just cruising. 24/7, hustle while y'all snoozing. Like one, like two. It's a burn ride, what you tryna do? Spitting knowledge, homie, what you got to prove? We gon' ride, feeling right, yeah, we always on the move.
Poopin' like Jordan Brown, bitch, like the man when I'm gone. She told me she love me, but fuck all that shit. I grind the daily, stay up on my shit. Don't care for these bitches, need me a check. Tell my pushers, boy, better flex. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Poopin' like Jordan Brown, bitch, like the man when I'm gone. She told me she love me, but fuck all that shit. I grind the daily, stay up on my shit. Don't care for these bitches, need me a check. Tell my pushers, boy, better flex. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Tryna come up with that big bag, big smoke in my bitch bag. Never needed love, always need cash. I'm just too good, it's a mismatch. I be up on my grind, Lamar Jackson. always getting better, it's time to take action. Fell in love with her, man, I'm straight capped. I don't love this money, that's just my attraction. Run into the sky, bitch, I'm getting by. We be smoking clouds, yeah, I'm always high, never gonna lose. Bitch, I'm on the rise, yeah, we going up. Tiptoe, made a fucking band, time to get more. If I put in work, then I get full. Up tempo, bitch, you get low. Up tempo, bitch, you get low. Yeah, when I Jordan Braun, bitch, like the man when I'm gone. She told me she love me, but fuck all that shit. I grind the daily, stay up on my shit. Pay for these bitches, need me a check. Tell my pushers, a bit of flex. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Grind my brothers, bitch got next.
We finna ball just like we Jordan or just nothing like LeBron. These niggas always but the cap, they tryna see a nigga fall. Bust down drip up on my body, got me feeling like the one. And all these bitches all around know they wanna have some fun. Might not shit to my little buddy, cause you know I'm about to fun. Just me and Dope, we bout to choke, we finna blow. And niggas hoes going hard and everything, you know we to that fucking top. I'm tryna ball and never fail. These niggas talk, but that's just all. BRN and 916, we got some bangers up and coming. And last advice, and when you talk, I hope to God just that it's false. Me and Doe, we just be grinding. Me and Doe, we just be grinding. We stacking chips like these legs, and all these bitches just behind us.
When I Jordan Braun, bitch, like the man when I'm gone. She told me she love me, but fuck all that shit. I grind the daily, stay up on my shit. Pay for these bitches, need me a check. Tell my pushers, a bit of flex. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. When I Jordan Braun, bitch, like the man when I'm gone. She told me she love me, but fuck all that shit. I grind the daily, stay up on my shit. Pay for these bitches, need me a check. Tell my pushers, a bit of flex. Grind my brothers, bitch got next. Grind my brothers, bitch got next.
Yeah, I was taught a scared man can't win. Half heart, half money. I was homeless, never bummy. Sometimes broke with little money. Had a dream and put in work, whether rains nor sunny. Early bird get the worm, early nigga get the money. I take hustling seriously, ain't a damn thing funny. Nah, ain't a damn thing funny. I take hustling seriously, ain't a damn thing funny. Nah, ain't a damn thing funny. My ex calls me a rude dude. I had to leave her cause her head game was boo-boo. Get a new girl and break her in like blue shoes. I like to keep her ass guessing like I'm Blue's Clues. Ooh, lyrically blessed, call it juju. Lyrical hoodoo, yeah, I'm spitting hoodoo. And who knew a ugly nigga like me could have so many women across the country? What the fuck? Yeah, I know what's going on. You smiling in my face, but you wanna see me gone. Why can't we all just get along? I just wanna get my money and be left alone. Talk to me, tell me what's going on. They act like they support you, but they hating all along. I don't even care if you hating on my song, but if you think I won't make it in life, you dead wrong. Yeah, you dead wrong. You think I can't spit it? I prove you dead wrong. You think I don't live it? I prove you dead wrong. You think I won't get it? I prove you dead wrong. Yeah, meditating on my next move, smoking Gorilla Glue. The hybrid puts me in a lyrical mood. I light it up and let it do what it do. Pick up my pen and pad, write down my thoughts and views. My mama raised no fool, my daddy raised no coward. I spit the real deal every top of the hour. Top of the morning. Good morning, America. I see the White House got the world in hysteria, but I'm not scared of you. I don't know fear. I predict Trump's impeachment at the end of the year. No year 2020 in my vision, and I can see clearly now. Fuck the system. My roots are from a lyrical jungle. I stay humble. I spit real rap, don't trap nor mumble. I don't freestyle cause I'm too humble. I write my verse down to tell my struggle. Yeah, I know what's going on. You smiling in my face, but you wanna see me gone. Why can't we all just get along? I just wanna get my money and be left alone. Talk to me, tell me what's going on. Where they act like they support you, but they're hating all along. I don't really care if you hating on my song, but if you think I won't make it, like you did it wrong.
Why you on my dick? Worry about the next nigga. Niggas creeping in they blood, and why you niggas say tripping? Why you on my dick? Worry about the next nigga. Niggas creeping in they blood, and why you niggas set tripping? If you spot him, then we got him. Red bottom, head shot him. Fuck with me, it get ugly, it get bloody. Red bottoms, if you spot him, then we got him. Red bottom, head shot him. Fuck with me, it get ugly, it get bloody. Red bottoms, I your head with a bottle. Dog, say you want some problems? Is you stupid gang? I hit your ass like a box. You got a vest, we ain't tripping. We were through with these hollows. You only gangsta on the gram. You a goofy fucking follow. All I know is get the bag. Swag, yeah, I'm about my dollars, nigga. $1, nigga. I'ma die alone. Suffolk all these niggas. Why you on my dick? Worry about the next nigga. Niggas creeping in they blood, and why you niggas say tripping? Why you on my dick? Worry about the next nigga. Niggas creeping in they blood, and why you niggas set tripping? Goddamn.
shit that I ain't been through. Still got open wounds that I ain't tend to. I was out there getting it on my lonely. Pussy niggas still act like my homies. I was getting jail for all my O's. See me with the pad that hit it on me. I was out there getting it on my solo, my dolo. Crispy white Cortez is like a cholo. Like I'm young and just a baby, say my name so people won't forget it. It's stupid where I live, I got to go away from my protection. I'm eating on fried okra, greasy fingers, outside church's chicken. Fucking pussy niggas come out open, water smoking funeral. Nigga, I stay in the yo. Nigga, you stay in your feelings. Nigga, I stay on the go. Nigga, you was never real. I should've motherfucking known. Nigga, I just lit the fire. Colors came out on their own. I ain't never got to worry. Me and Cuzzo stay on go. Niggas talk a lot of shit for folks who ain't outside no more. I just see where I grew up and look exactly as before. I ain't changed, I just grew up. Oh, I'm exactly as before. Damn, why we can't just get along? Why you always got a trip? You know I've been in some phone. Yeah, I can't always have the phone with me, head on the swivel, cause that's how I make it home. Damn, ain't a lot of shit that I ain't been through. Still got open wounds that I ain't tend to. I was out there getting it on my lonely. Pussy niggas still act like my homie. I was getting jail for all my O's. See me with the pad that hit it on me. I was out there getting it on my solo, my dolo. Crispy white Cortez is like a cholo. Like I can't guarantee a call back, sorry. I've been in the street just like a carjacking, mommy. Soon as it was me, then people all back it off me. Everything you say, I think it's all cap, I'm sorry. I felt like my lesson had to fall back up off me. I'm young Jizzy, bitch, I think I'm all that. It's so simple, bitches pray for me, ain't no point in worry. All you gotta do is keep them blunts ready for me. Bitches ain't no game and I ain't no Eddie Murphy. Niggas hella lame, I got these slugs ready for me. Niggas ain't gon' play, that's what I'm thugging it for. The country nigga that I was running for, bitch. Why we can't just get along? Why you always got a trip? You know I've been in some phone. Yeah, I can't always have the phone with me, head on the swivel, cause that's how I make it home. Ain't a lot of shit that I ain't been through. Still got open wounds that I ain't tend to. I was out there getting it on my lonely. Pussy niggas still act like my homie.
Yeah. You see, I'm just a young nigga from the beat with a dream of making it past my city. So if Hova don't wanna sign me, I make him fight me like 50. Grinding and really tough, I know the times will be gritty, but fuck the game, I'ma milk it for what it's worth. Can you feel me? I turn on the TV, I swear to God it's never been clearer. Staring right into my future like looking in the mirror. With high resolve, pushing and give my all, and having my mama no longer stressing its own reward. I'm swinging my knuckles, beating the wall. These labels give me no credit, they dodging and ducking calls. They tell me they want the numbers, but say shit that's so bizarre. Like, look, this time you'll be great, but won't invest in me at all. These critics are always hating on me. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever live out my dreams. Shit, life is never what it seems. So fuck it all, this is by that young nigga from the fake.
Real niggas realize real grind. 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 You see I'm ready to go. You see I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. When I was falling, nobody offered their hands out. Killing with these lyrics. See murderous written, hands down. I'm fighting to be the only rapper who stands out. My father's gone, I guess that makes me the man now. Look, my rap game's so phenomenal. Working on this artistry, it's hard to be so logical. Niggas in my way, I target practice with these obstacles. Cut these haters down with lyrical rounds like the chopper do. I'ma prove you a real ass bitch, that's what your real ass gets. Tear him open, lyrics potent, watch his real ass switch. Now he's soaking, never joking with these real ass clips. Verses in your fucking life, that's some real ass shit. They say I'm cocky, I gotta be, let me stand tall. You haters whispering, life is blocking my downfall. But I ain't stopping till one day my father sees, smiling down on me in heaven. I made it, this young nigga from the beat.
Real niggas realize real grind. Real niggas realize real grind. Real niggas realize real grind. You see I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. You see I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Gang.
Damn, Kid Taco.
We back on that bullshit. Why niggas hate, so we gotta keep that broomstick. We got ball, pockets gotta fill with blue strips. They say city, 27, yeah, we ruthless. Look at that, yeah, I'm back on my bullshit. Why niggas hate, so we gotta keep that broomstick. We got ball, pockets gotta fill with blue strips. They say city, 27, yeah, we ruthless.
Headed straight to the top. Back on my bullshit, no, I can't stop. Knock 19, no stop. Play with the fan, put him in the box. Look at my neck and my watch. Tryna be me, but nigga, you not. Niggas be talking to cops, but hella quiet when we bid in your blocks. Hey, keep that same energy, cause niggas not friends with me. I'm tryna ball MVP, niggas don't fuck ring cause they enemies. I give a fuck, we family. Got my check, now niggas ain't stand me. MCD do me up next. You niggas is context. Down, let it talk when we not around. MCD, we the hottest out. 2020, 50 bucks now. Fuck Corona, we ain't in the drop. Yeah, I'm back on my bullshit. I just got a broomstick, full stick. Please don't make me use it.
We back on that bullshit. Why niggas hate, so we gotta keep that broomstick. We got ball, pockets gotta fill with blue strips. They say city, 27, yeah, we ruthless. Look at that, yeah, I'm back on my bullshit. Why niggas hate, so we gotta keep that broomstick.
Betty, cause she said she like my lingo. And my plug, he ain't fucking with no bingo. And I hit the board feeling like a bingo. And I got the bricks on me like a freak. Find me in the water, feel like Nemo. Move fast, even though that shit seems slow. I've been working and you know I got my mind now. Even though it took a little bit of time now.
See, I'm too turned up, cookie blunts, and some rose. Who won't, but we got runs. We got cocaine, I'm a West Oakland nigga, hokey up. I'm in motion in your chest. Open nigga, if you step to a nigga, I got problems in these streets, but I ain't pressed. Still wide open, I'm a problem in these streets. I'm driving reckless, drinking photos on my mama. Fuck with me, if not the best. I'm the closest, ain't no time to wait and see. Gotta flex for the moment, bitch, I'm big homie. I'm somewhere close to getting toasted, put your bitch on me. I don't care about this rap shit as much as ends, building. That dark up underneath your chin just like you know. Jody, I'm in some Stacey Adams, looking like I'm pimping, don't it? This shit is easy, brain shit to come and see me, bro. If you need it, we got smoke for the freezer, bro. I just left on 3 and slid out to the Vita, bro. I hope you keep that energy.
She said she like my bingo. And my plug, he ain't fucking with no bingo. And I hit the board feeling like a bingo. And I got the bricks on me like a freako. Find me in the water, feel like Nemo. Move fast, even though that shit seems slow. I've been working and you know I got my mind now. Even though it took a little bit of time now. Ooh, baby says she feeling me. She said, Q, you always rolling up that sticky tree. Cali boy, baby, catch me rolling in the beat. Or at the stoop, going stupid on a Joey B. Oh, you ain't no P, I got it from my cutty. Little baby think I'm cute, she said she thinks she love me. But little baby, we ain't doing nothing more than fucking. I'm not really affectionate, I'm not with the Russians. I'm smoking fat backwoods, I kinda like the Russians. I got exotic woods with foreign bitches that'll roll. I'm going 120 in the whip like the bitches know. Nodding off the surfboard like the shit is broke. 2 cutie pies, man, slide through and sniff the butter. Yeah, you know I'm finna slide through in that undercover. Yeah, you know I'm rolling through, ballin' all summer. Yeah, you rolling fat. And you know I'm she said she like my lingo. And my plug, he ain't fucking with no bingo. And I hit the board feeling like a bingo. And I got the bricks on me like a freako. Find me in the water, feel like Nemo. Move fast, even though the shit seems slow. I've been working and you know I got my mind now. Even though it took a little bit of time now.
Hey, what's up?
What's going down?
How's it going?
Good.
Good. We got new music to play tonight. I'm pretty excited about that with our guests. Did you get it from Amani?
Yeah, he just like sent it about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. So, oh man, what a fucking day. Okay, I'm irked. I just came from Vallejo City Council to speak, and I was speaking about having an ASL interpreter at meetings. And it's the law if a deaf person requests it, but they need to request it in order to come request it. And my point is that the law should be followed regardless. They should not need to personally request something twice a month. And meetings are now streamed on video, so there's lots of deaf people watching at home. And so I was making that point, and then as I was going to go sit down, the mayor, I don't know how that guy was a fucking lawyer, man. That guy cannot enunciate. I swear to God, you cannot understand a goddamn thing he says, especially with a mask. He's like, and so I wasn't sure, but he said something about if they could find somebody to volunteer. I've gotten in trouble before for answering back, but I was about to say what? We'd have done it if we could get somebody to volunteer, and nobody. So I just nobody works for free for the city. Why should interpreters work for free? They're professionals. That is a matter of respect. And okay, you're a fucking municipal organization and you're going to come ask somebody to work for free. If people are going to work for free, it should be for a benefit or something like that. So yeah, I was pissed. I was about to turn around and say something, but then I was like, no. And so, yeah, so I have to continue to bring that up, because people don't feel welcome if it's not there already. So, and yeah, it's just because he doesn't give a shit. If he had any personal connection, he'd be all for it. But it just means I need to talk to the city attorney myself and figure out what the actual deal is. So that's where I was just coming from. And I was able to make it here in time, but after our show, I'm gonna come back down and, make a further appearance. I mean, I was just reading about a whistleblower in Great Britain who was on duty during the fall of Kabul when the Taliban were taking over, and apparently everybody was on vacation and not responding. I mean, if you have a job like that, we talked about first responders, there's some jobs where you need to respond. And they were getting thousands of emails and nobody was getting back to them. Wow. And yeah, people just didn't care. So the art museum in Afghanistan just opened back up. And I mean, I was talking about it with my brother last week and saying, I mean, it's like the Nazi. I mean, your rights can be taken away in a week. Somebody can swoop in and take away your rights. And I'm grateful for my rights. And I know a lot of people don't have the rights that I do. And that is why I'm going to continue advocating for that. And deaf people should have the same rights as everybody to participate in government. So yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm pleased. Did you hear about Chris Cuomo?
No, what happened?
He got fired.
Ooh, wasn't they gonna fire him anyway? Wasn't that like the plan?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not privy to it, but apparently somebody else reported that he also had sexual harassment claims against him. Apparently somebody blew the whistle on him because she was sick of how self-righteous he was on TV. But I mean, that's not why. But yeah, you gotta follow the fucking rules. And I mean, how hard is it if you have a job like that to understand that it is improper and inappropriate to get involved in the news in that way? It's because people like him think they can do whatever the fuck they want. So yeah, like good riddance. Put a woman in his spot. Fuck him. I mean, people that think that they can do whatever they want. And I mean, he's like, it's my family. Your family has lawyers, your family has resources, your family can take care of themselves. I mean, you can just offer support without getting personally involved.
Right.
In that way. So bye, Chris. However, another CNN person might be getting in trouble, and that's Don Lemon. So have you been following what's up with Jussie Smollett?
No, what's been up, man? He's back on the scene again?
Yeah, he's on trial.
Man, just now? Or it's not still for the same thing, is it?
Well, he's on trial for faking the hate crime.
I thought that was done a while ago. Really?
Well, no, I mean, it happened 2 years ago, but the trials just started.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought it was done.
No. I mean, it takes a while to go on trial. And I'm telling you, Matt, I mean, the whole thing that he did to me was just so clearly a mental health problem. It was just so irrational. It was so irrational and self-destructive and sad. I mean, here was somebody with a pretty successful career and a lot going for him that just did something absolutely crazy to get attention. And he is now claiming that these two brothers that jumped him, that he didn't set it up, that they just jumped him. I mean, there's cash apps showing that he paid them money, and there's text.
What was his excuse for the cash? Or I guess the court hasn't started yet, so I guess they're gonna drill him on it, right?
For the what?
I said, you said the case hasn't started yet, right?
No, he's in trial.
Yeah, but did they question him about the giving them the money?
Not that I've seen yet, no, but he's claiming that they did it in order to convince him that he needed a bodyguard or something. And they're asking him, they were asking him why he refused to surrender to give the cops his phone, and he was talking about how he's a public figure and he has all this confidential information on it, which is true, but he's just being really, I think he's doing a real bad job. He's being real disrespectful. I mean, people are asking him questions and he's coming back with real sarcastic answers. Juries do not like that. And I don't think it's appropriate. This is a court. It's supposed to be, it is a serious thing. It is not the time to be sarcastic with people. But the CNN connection is that he's friends with Don Lemon, another CNN anchor, and he said that the reason he didn't want to surrender his phone, what's being said is that almost immediately he got a text message from Don Lemon saying the cops don't believe you, and that was Don Lemon using his media connections to find out something for his friend. And that is very not cool. And at the time, Don Lemon said, at the time that it was difficult for him because he's friends with Jussie, but now he's just reporting on it without saying that he has this connection. But hi, John. But that's messed up. And so I don't know. I mean, he could, the penalty for what he did could be pretty severe. They think he could get up to 18 years. I mean, for like faking a crime like that. But it's just sad and just real destructive. But I went back to watch Dave Chappelle's take on it. Was just so funny.
Wow, he was clowning him.
Pardon me? He was. He was. And so that's just, it's just too bad. I mean, I think he was, according to there's not a lot of out gay men in show business. He was an out gay African-American man. And it is important for people to see their representatives in public, to see somebody like them. And he said, what he said was, that's why he didn't report it immediately, because he was saying he wants to get superhero roles, and that he didn't want to be portrayed as weak because of being a gay man. So I don't know. I mean, he probably, I just think he may, I don't know. It's just with something like that. I bet if you set up something like that, I bet almost immediately, I wouldn't be surprised if he regretted it almost immediately. When you see your story is just not going to hold up. So, yeah. So that is just sad. So, okay, speaking of languages and translations and all of that. So John, did you see that Mayor McSee is pulling some crap about wanting people to volunteer for the city? Fuck that, man. I just need to get some deaf people to demand it. That's the problem. I mean, so yeah. Okay, so West Side Story was a film that was made in the 50s, and it's based on Romeo and Juliet. the thing about two young people that fall in love, but their families are from rival clans. And so there was a really famous movie made in the 50s called West Side Story about these gangs called the Sharks and the Jets. And I think one gang was Puerto Rican, and I don't remember what the other gang was supposed to be. Being as it was the 50s, they did not cast anybody from a Latinx background. So, but it was pretty famous. It was pretty beloved. It was considered to be the modern version of Romeo and Juliet. At one point when my little brother was assigned Romeo and Juliet in school, my dad was talking about the 1950s version as being something more contemporary or something like that. And I was like, Dad, there's a movie that's of the Shakespeare play that was made in the 70s. And I was going like, I mean, for kids, something from the 50s is I think it's about as remote to them as something from the Renaissance. But what I was just reading today was that it doesn't use subtitles for the Spanish, which is pretty cool, because if you subtitle the Spanish, that means that your default is everybody speaking English. But if you don't, that means you're making it open to everyone and not making English the default. And they cast Puerto Rican people as Puerto Ricans in the film. So I am not particularly interested in seeing the film, but people love musicals. A lot of people really love musicals and will be really into that. So yeah, there you go, and it's cool if they're gonna, if they're doing something where Spanish speakers can just go and see that their language is set as the default. I mean, that's cool, and it's pride and all of that. Okay, so remember those channel migrants we were talking about? Well, that we've been talking about. I think I said one of the ones that have been dying. One of the ones that died on the English Channel was on his 7th attempt to get to Great Britain. So I'm like, please give that guy asylum, man. I mean, if he wants to get there that badly, he is going to be more of a model citizen than anybody. Right. Whereas in the United States, Trump had a policy of having migrant asylum seekers at the southern border stay in Mexico, and Biden tried to do away with that. He tried to rescind it, but 2 US courts have blocked it. So now people that want to claim asylum in the US are in camps at the Mexican border, which are very unsafe. The United States is now assisting with COVID tests and stuff like that for people, but sometimes people talk like tests are the answer. Well, no, they're not. I mean, if you test people and they have COVID, then what? Do you have a place for them? Do you have a place for them to go isolate and get medical care? So it's pretty scary. And and then meanwhile, the United States is trying to warn Russia against aggression toward Ukraine, but we know how much Russia cares what other people think about their aggression, which is not much. And okay, so the Biden administration is also putting on a imposing diplomatic boycotts of China for the Olympics next year. And there's a world association because of their treatment of the Uyghurs, who are Muslims, who are Asian Muslims that are held in concentration camps and who have had their children stolen from them. I am not sure if that means not. I guess it means they're not sending government force people from the government, but I'm not sure if it means they can just boycott it and not allow athletes to go. Do you know how that works?
You mean like boycott it to where athletes can't come to the Olympics? Is that what they're trying to do?
Well, they've already said that it's a diplomatic boycott, which should mean that, I mean, going by what it says, it should mean that people from the government officials won't be going along with them, but the athletes can still go. And I think making athletes not go, I think that punishes the athletes more than anything.
That's messed up for the athletes, you know?
Yeah.
Really, I mean, politicians can't go. You can always watch it on TV if they really want to get that bad.
Yeah. Because that's just hurting people. I mean, you have the Olympic athletes train for years in order to be able to do. I can't, like, if you've been training for something for 4 years and then you're suddenly told that you can't go compete. I don't even see, if I were in that position, I'd probably just be saying, fuck the human rights. Fair. You have to be, I mean, you have to be really single-minded in order to compete at that level. I mean, I've always disagreed with that, because I think that when you have people going to because it's a cultural exchange between people, and when you're going to have athletes spending time with each other, and that's what it's supposed to be about. And if you don't go, all that happens is that other countries just compete, and American athletes don't get a chance to compete. And I mean, what the fuck would you do? Your entire life would be, it would mean they wouldn't be able to move on and get sports trophies and get endorsements or anything like that. It's just real fucked up. And as you know, I mean, I've been talking about the Uyghurs for years. But athletes don't try and do that work through athletes. Okay. I mean, sanctions need to be economic, and it's just real hard to say. It's hard to know what to do, because sometimes the economic sanctions against Cuba hurts citizens more than anyone. I mean, that's what you hear from a lot of people. I know that there's other ways to look at it, in honesty, but that is what I've heard.
I can see why it can hurt the citizens of the countries that are going to the Olympics.
What?
You know? I'm saying I can see how it can mess up the citizens.
Yeah, that's who's affected. And I was just reading a interview with a Palestinian American man who lives in Texas, and he's an electrician, and he lost out on a job because there's some bullshit from the United States saying that they not allowing states to do business with countries that participate in the boycott of the, with businesses and corporations that participate in the boycott of the state of Israel. And I do not see how that is even constitutional. You should have the right to boycott who you want to boycott. And so that's what this guy is saying. I mean, he lost out on a major contract. People are being asked to, he was asked to sign something saying that he would not participate in the boycott of the state of Israel. And it's not even, I mean, it's not even the point that this guy is Palestinian American. I mean, it's more personal for him, but there's a lot of people that believe in that boycott, and it is their right. It's their right to do it. And so that's just real fucked up. And he was talking about he was talking about the process of he had a hard time getting a he couldn't even really get a normal passport when he tried to come to the United States. And because he was born in Gaza, and he has been unable to go back and see his family in 40 years. And so then when he tried to get a passport, they wanted to put down Israel as his birthplace. And he was like, no, I wasn't born in the state of Israel. I don't recognize the state of Israel. And so, yeah, I mean, it is a more extreme example, but there are a lot of people that want to, participate in that boycott because they don't like the government of Israel. And it's like saying, and people think that's anti-Semitic. It's like saying that boycotting the Olympics in Beijing is anti-Asian. Nobody's saying that, because it isn't. It's about a government. It's about government policies. Okay, Scott is asking, is there a 21-day isolation for this Olympic thing about the vaccinations, aka COVID? The Olympic boycott, Scott, is because of China's human rights abuses, not because of COVID. There's protocols that everybody needs to follow because of COVID. I don't know what they are in that country, but yeah, I mean, that's politics, not people. So that's just real fucked up. And I mean, this is America. You should be able to boycott who you want to boycott, and people have the right. If people don't like who I'm boycotting, they have the right not to work with me. And so it goes. Yeah.
Just so you know, I downloaded the music, so I have the music ready whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Are they gonna come on the show or?
Yeah, she's gonna come. Yeah, she's gonna come on around 9. So yeah, that was very cool. We had such a great show with Najee last week, and then he mentioned his partner, and so I wrote him. I was like, hey, does she want to come on the show?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Amani.
That name was familiar. I was like,
yeah,
I've seen that name, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, she was commenting last week, and then we've both been listening to some of Man's show and commenting on that and having a good time. So yeah, so Mani will be coming on shortly. The Gilgamesh tablet was returned to Iraq, and that is the oldest piece, one of the oldest pieces of writing in the world that's known. It was looted in 1991 in the first Gulf War with 4,000 other items. And so in war, you can both plunder people and artifacts and culture. There's been a lot going on in New York City with artifacts. Oh, cool. Oakland Mine. Awesome. We'll see you soon. Okay, so the hedge funder, he just returned 70 million artifacts, $70 million worth of artifacts. Can you imagine having $70 million of old ass shit in your house?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hopefully they got paid for it.
Well, they did, but the problem is the wrong people were paid for it.
Oh.
The people that get paid for it is looters and mercenaries. It's people that just go in and steal stuff. So the prosecutors executed 17 search warrants and worked with officials in 11 countries: Bulgaria, Egypt, Greece, Iraq, Israel, Italy, Jordan, Lebanon, Libya, Syria, and Turkey. This must be a lot of fun to work on. If you're, I mean, it would just be exciting. You're really doing something unusual. And if you're interested in history and artifacts, but that's going to be, he's barred from owning stuff ever again. But I don't even know, man. He must have stuff. He loans stuff to museums too. So I mean, he must have stuff in like storehouses or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. $70 million.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, they was waiting to turn that in for money.
Pardon me?
But I know they were waiting to turn that in for some money.
Oh, I know, huh? Yeah, he's not good. I mean, it's interesting because you can't really like, it would be like, it's hard to know who to return it to. So if you've just stolen stuff from museums and you've gotten it illegally in the first place, so I don't know, but that will be pretty interesting. So I had a good time over the weekend. Did you see any of my pictures being an elf?
Yes, I saw that. You was going down to Sonoma, right?
Sure was.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah.
Java Jacks. I saw the picture.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny.
Parade? What happened?
It was the Mad Hatter parade.
Did they do that at nighttime?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They start about 4:30. It's fun. It's a real chill parade. You know how in some places some parades are just too long and drawn out and go on forever. This doesn't go on too long, and it has a lot of art floats and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty fun. I felt like I was connecting with a new part of my personality. I figured you were busy. I almost called you to come down and say hi. Did you do any DJing over the weekend?
Oh yeah, I had a coworkers party I did for him on Saturday.
How was it?
That was good. Good. Real good. Oh, yeah. It was his daughter's birthday, so she had fun with it. Kind of interesting towards the end, though. Kind of fun.
Yeah. Was it different? Was it a different venue?
Well, it was kind of a little different because I guess her daughter has a lot of friends that are gay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not used to really teaching people who are gay.
What? I can't. You're cutting out, Roselle.
You got your volume up, right? Your volume's
Yeah.
up?
Okay. Go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
So what I was gonna say was, yeah, so she has a lot of gay friends. So I've never really DJed for, never had no one come to me and say, "Can you play more gay music?" I was like,
What do you
I
consider?
don't know if I can play more gay music. I'm not gay, but
Well, of course
I
you can
kind of
play
said
gay.
something, but I was kind of being funny, but not. I kind of said, like, you want me to play some YMCA?
There you go. You can play
Yeah, but
gay
that was
music.
kind of weird. It kind of seemed like I was clowning a little bit because it was YMCA. But anyway, she told me she just said, like, if you have any Lady Gaga or something like that, play Lady Gaga. So
Yeah.
I literally played my whole library of Lady Gaga and Dua Lipa. And that's all I played for like 2 hours.
Wow. So was anybody making requests or anything?
Well, no, the dude there was a couple of gay people there. The dude came up to me and was like, "You knew how to spin. How did you do? I've never heard this mix of Lady Gaga." And I'm like, dude, I'm thinking in my mind, it's just Lady Gaga. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess he liked it. They was cool with it, so I was happy.
Well, good. I'll help. Yeah. Well, if you ever get invited to another gay party, I'll help you put it together.
Okay. Better know them songs.
I know.
That was kind of, like I said, I don't really. She's lucky I have a little Lady Gaga. I mean, I downloaded some of the mixes and some of that EDM type stuff, but it seemed like it worked. He was used to it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it was an older gay group, if it was an older gay, yeah, I don't even know, man. I'm a bad gay. I don't really like a lot of that kind of music. I mean, of course you're gonna like YMCA, but Lady Gaga is pretty good, I mean, that people were probably.
So you got to tell me why is Lady Gaga chosen?
You know what? I have how somebody gets chosen by the gay authorities. I have no idea. That is always, well, she has an anthem. She has this song called "Born This Way," which is,
oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that is kind of modeled after a Madonna song. And well, with some performers, I mean, Lady Gaga got started. I mean, she performed in a lot of gay circles and worked with a lot of gay men. So that's how it happened. And so did Madonna. Yeah, next gay party you can just play Madonna if you can.
I didn't think about it. I should have threw in some Madonna, but like I said, they seemed a little younger, so she was lucky I had Lady Gaga. But yeah. I mean, her music is kind of like that EDM housey type music. So I guess that's kind of what it really was they kind of like house music, EDM.
Yeah. Honestly, I do like, okay, well, like, I know I'm such a, like Judy Garland. I mean, Judy Garland is a gay icon. And I'm sorry. I'm like, I know John is listening. I am a very bad gay because I mean, she has, I guess it's because of that song, somewhere over the rainbow. And I mean, it's kind of because, like, when you talk about being a friend, because Oz, it kind of symbolized an escape to a lot of people. I mean, some of that stuff is just real generational. And so, yeah, see, one of my friends, okay, see, my friend Lou, she's like she's like in her 60s. She's like fucking 70 soon, but I swear to God, she looks young. She's like you know how you're always like amazed about stuff that I don't know about. She's like that when it comes to gay stuff. She was just, I learned so much cultural stuff from her that I just wasn't even aware of, because I just kind of was a bookworm. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. So, but yeah, good for you. I'm sure they had a fun time.
Oh yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It still turned out good. So I just know now never to delete Lady Gaga just in case. Lady Gaga will stay on the list.
Yeah. You never know. You never know when you might be invited to a gay party.
Never know.
It's true. It's true. So you ready to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a quick little break. Let's get a quick break.
Okay, yeah, I sent Amani okay, John, everybody, thank you for listening. We'll be back shortly.
Manish, he had to say his name.
Roll past fired up, we in the session. Roll past fired up, this is session. Roll past fired up, we in the session. We in the session. This is session. Roll past fired up, we in the session. Roll past fired up, this is session. Roll past fired up, we in the session. This is session. We in the session.
I roll past fire. This my confession. I smoke until I'm high. It ain't no limit. Watch me put two together, boy. Call it extension. Only smoke exclusive weed. I forgot to mention. And everybody find out. We in a session. Never smoke with broke niggas. You'll learn your lesson. When I smoke is way loud, and that's a blessing. I got grams, I got G's. My burger got double cheese, and I function when I'm high. It ain't no stress. I'm taking blunts down back to back. This life ain't wrestling. I be tangling, I be twisting. Could shit you like Sonny Liston. I can't even hear your loud nigga, but I'm trying to listen. These suckers out here hoping, they out here wishing that a nigga probably turned down. But it ain't no switching. You ain't look when I try to pass it, nigga. Two for not flinching. When you hit the nigga phone, don't be texting if you say we finna
roll past fired up. We in the session. Roll past fired up. This is session. Roll past fired up. Session. We in the session. This is session. Roll past fired up. We in the session. Roll past fired up. This is session. Roll past fired up. We in the session. This is session. We in the session. Backwards and bone rips. All in my session. Hit it twice past that. That's a lesson. This full brother swish is sweet. What was he guessing? Oh, I forgot.
Camping outside, we 5 to 5, cents on the ride, go for the 5, I'm plotting. I know where you wait, I know where you work, some kind of shit, I know when you clock in. Dressed in all black, stocking cap on my lap, I'm strapped. Hatch is playing, cause all they give a nigga straps, and perhaps the fact that we don't wanna be in C don't match. Got rope, got tape, so might tape the whole thing. Whole tank of propane, just in case my DNA on the scene make it blow up. A nigga about to plunge, I guess, I had to let the fear digest. Now you about to feel my stress, once I press this unlock, don't stop, yeah, here's my best. Creeping through your window, my end goal is simple, here go, get gone. Now hoping that it ain't nobody home, when you get a leader home, you gon' look around and wonder like, too late, you been raid, it's payday, and you paid, get brave, get sprayed, that's how you get a gray ball back on your hip when your shit stay, leave no name, like, gotta get a nigga in the means, even if it means everybody enemies, you should've changed up your tendencies, now you ran to some visities, how you up, think you finna leave, no, nobody, sympathy, don't got it, your wallet, my wallet, when you pray, whole body, karma coming, don't got it, that's why.
I
Yeah. Yeah, so I just saw that Biden has told Putin that we're not going to act like we did in 2014 when there was a lot of aggression against Ukraine. Nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. So that was then I was just the Taliban claimed that girls would be allowed to go back to school, but they kind of just made it even more official that that's not going to happen. It just makes me so sad. It just really makes me want to cry. Seriously. So yeah, so what happened today, I was just checking online, was the Jussie Smollett was cross-examined, and he should have just taken a plea deal. That is at the beginning, you know. I mean, he should have just taken a plea deal and like paid a fine, done community service, and that would be that. Because people are mad. He made the Chicago PD look stupid. He made the officials in Chicago look stupid. He made a lot of people look stupid, and people really don't like that. So yeah. And so meanwhile, our friend Kamala is getting hit from all sides. People are just bashing her, and she had a couple staffers leave. So people are really critical of that. And that's tricky. I mean, I hate to say it, but that kind of does look bad, because people do tend, once people get into those, people like politicians can keep certain staffers for years. They become like relatives, because it's just not a normal job. They're on call all the time, and I mean, a lot of them do have pretty poor relationships with their families because of that. So she lost. Okay, so this woman named Simone Sanders, who used to work for Burn Dog in 20.
Burn Dog.
See, I like her now though. She worked for Burn Dog in 2016, but I forgive her for that, because she went ahead and worked for Biden after that. So she saw the error of her ways. And so she worked for Biden, and then she worked for Kamala, but now she's leaving. Okay, Oakland Mind, you're Amani, right? I sent you a link. So yeah, I mean, it just makes me really nervous, because the United States is so sexist, and the combination of the United States sexism and racism is just gonna be going after her. So if Biden doesn't run in 2024, and even if he does, I mean, it's just gonna be creating a lot of problems. I was talking about it with my brother, and he had met somebody else, another woman politician who'd been on Biden's short list for VP. And so Matt was telling him, he had lunch with, he's like, she's not a very nice person. I was like, well, being a nice person doesn't even seem like much of a qualification. I was like, Kamala's a nice person. I really believed that. I was like, come on, would you want to have dinner with Kamala? I would totally want to have dinner with Kamala. I mean, she genuinely seems like a good, fun person. And, that might not even be the greatest thing to be in politics. You need to look nice, but a lot of people are not nice.
I think some politicians have to be a little stern. I think come on, we just came from Trump, man. And I know they're probably getting hit from left and right, up and down. They probably got to be a little stern here and there. I mean,
exactly. I mean, Kamala's had to be stern her entire career. I mean, she said that. I mean, every time she ran for office, people tried to talk her out of it. Like, since she ran for DA in San Francisco, people were trying to talk her out of it. Unfortunately, I think when it came to running for president, that they were correct. It was her first term in Congress. I mean, her first term in the Senate. She didn't have the international experience that people should have, and she didn't have the Senate experience. And especially so, I mean, it's just frustrating. And so I heard a quote from somebody who doesn't think Trump's going to run again because he doesn't want to work that hard, but he can sure as hell cause a lot of damage. I mean, it's crazy how people can make this stuff so political. Like that kid, I mean, that Kyle Rittenhouse, the kid that like killed a couple demonstrators, just went to go meet with Trump. It's crazy. So yeah, the world is pretty fucking scary. Who we haven't heard too much lately from is Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, he's been kind of quiet, huh?
He has been. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, if Gav runs for president, he'll have really done it the old-fashioned way. I mean, like, people like now people run for, you had Trump running for office that had never held elective office. You had both Kamala and Obama running in their first terms in the Senate. Yeah, it's real different. Yeah. So did you watch any movies while you were off work?
No, I haven't really had a chance to really. I watched one episode of Squid Game, which is
Oh, you watched it. Okay, what did you think?
Literally just one episode. I gotta watch.
Well, that's all I watched. That's all I
the first episode. That's all I see. So I gotta watch more of it, just to check it out. I mean, I kind of dig the concept, but I think I talked to you. I think it's more like, you were supposed to check out the Twilight Zone too. Did you ever do it?
Oh man, come on! You got to check out something. You got to check out something that I know. Okay, check it. Watch an episode of Insecure, and I'll watch an episode of Twilight Zone.
That's a deal.
Okay. Insecure has good music on it, so you're getting a really good deal.
Twilight Zone's pretty trippy.
What?
No, I said the Twilight Zone is pretty trippy.
That's probably why it doesn't interest me that much.
Wait till you see it. I don't know. I think the real world is trippy enough. That's just kind of, I mean, I kind of vaguely read, wasn't that on in the 80s? Yep. Probably later than that too.
Really?
Yep.
I hate the 80s. Wait a minute. What just happened?
I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm back on. My fucking notes got lost this week. So I'm a little lost at the moment. I have to.
Oh, you was having too much fun in that parade, huh?
I know, huh? Well, fucking Google Drive went crazy and I got completely balled up trying to fix that, and a bunch of my notes got somehow
Deleted.
Yeah. Well, just in different places, it wasn't syncing. It was a very, very sad story. I was reading a book called The Making of the Civil Rights Lawyer, and one of the things I thought was interesting was that see, back in the day, lawyers could become lawyers. They could like train with other lawyers. They didn't necessarily need to go to law school. So I was reading about the early days of Black lawyers, and some of them, like one of them was admitted to the bar as a white person. But I read that even in the South, even in Jim Crow, there was civil rights were furthered by African-American lawyers because the protocol is so important in the law. Even the most racist opposing counsels and all that, you still need to address other lawyers a certain way. And so that was kind of interesting because it shows sometimes that, like, sometimes, I mean, if people are forced to follow protocol, things can be different. And you know, it was always said, and then it was always said about Thurgood Marshall that, I mean, the belief, which I fully believe, because he was such a hard, because he liked to play poker and drink, that he would, even though he would be, he'd be like working, defending people against judges and lawyers that were Klan members, but they would bond over alcohol and poker.
I'm not you.
Hey, it looks like our guest is here. No, okay, it's not.
They can't see me, babe. Oh, hi. Oh, you can see me.
No, we can't see you yet. Hey, hi.
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 What up? This is what I look like.
No, this is perfect. How's it going?
It's going good. Yes, I had to fix my neck. Thank you.
Yeah.
You had to set me up.
Nice to meet you.
The audio settings.
No, I can't hear you. Hold on. I can't hear you, but can you turn this up?
Yes, sir. This button, the line button.
What up, Summer Man? What's going on, dude?
Oh, tell us what's up.
Oh, he doesn't want to come right here because he don't have on his robe like I do.
I don't have no shirt.
Hold on, look. Can you do this for me? So we live together. We go together.
Yeah.
We love each other.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying watching. Thank you. So now I know how to turn it up. I've been enjoying watching y'all for the last like 20-30 minutes. The Juicy Smoliers.
Oh yeah.
The news.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So do you have would you like to add some comments to that?
Well, all I would add is like, damn girl, where do you be getting your news from? 1 and 2, I'm about to watch your show every Tuesday now because I'm leery of watching news. So I be on YouTube a lot. So I see a lot of news on YouTube, but it's like, you know, you got to have a lot of different sources. You got to get around. So you're going to be one of my another YouTube.
Well, thank you so much.
Source.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's a real honor. I just, yeah, I take that real seriously, you know. Yeah, I mean, people listening to you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I saw you listening last week, and we've been on some of some of Man's shows, which oh my God, that was a really great conversation about comedy. Oh my God.
Last night.
Yeah, last night. Yeah, Brazil, you should have been there, man. It was, oh God, they were going over comics. They were just running down this long list of comics. It was really great. And I mean, one of the things I think is so interesting about comedy is that it can be a way to bring people together. If you can laugh, if you can get people to laugh together, you've accomplished a lot.
100% agree. And I don't know, I am not able to tell what direction we're going in, because, you know, they was talking about the Seth Rogen's new thing, and I think Age was kind of like, well, he ain't never been that funny. That's kind of what I got from him. But I'm like, no, I thought he was funny. So I don't know what the hell went on, and I don't know what's going on, but like, I don't know. People are trying to, it makes me think of when I first tried to do like YouTube stuff. Najee and I did for a short time, we did this kind of a podcast thing. It's called React Black. And it's on our Oakland Mind YouTube channel. And I remember when we first started doing it, or even this last summer of 2020, we did this thing called 30-Day Bay Challenge, and it was all about music. And every time we were getting ready to get on camera, I would have my whole ass script, and I would just like have all this prepared, and the way that I was presenting myself was so like pre-planned until I finally got used to it, and then I stopped doing that because it's better not to do it all 100% scripted or whatever. And so once I stopped trying to like be on some type of P's and Q's for some type of audience I had in my mind, it was so much better. It was so much more enjoyable to even do it, to not hold my tongue half the time. And so I don't know where comedy is going, because I can see that people really are getting that. It seems like people are in that, who's my audience, play to the audience, do what the audience wants me to do instead of being who they are or something.
Now, do you think that's possibly happening because of the cancel culture type thing, that everybody's just starting to get a little more, they're trying to please everybody instead of just doing what they do?
It's for sure that, but I also feel like that's losing steam, kind of. Like, once you realize like I have the power, you don't have the power, so now it's kind of almost a decision, like, to take your own power back. And I feel like people are starting to see more examples of that. For example, you know, Chappelle, he did his whole last thing. People was hating on him for every last special he had, but especially this last one, like it came at a certain type of time. And after that, he was talking about how this unrelated documentary he was filming is, people don't want to show it. And so technically he was canceled in that regard. I mean, economically and an opportunity creatively. But then he said, so I'm just gonna show it myself and fucking tour. And I'm like, yeah, duh, because you're Dave Chappelle. Like, at some point, no one can stop you from doing what you do on the career that you've built over the time that you've built it. And you're just gonna find a different way to do it, but you're still able to do it. And that's important for people to recognize, that when people don't make space for you, you make space for yourself. Like, I've seen Chappelle do it, and I've seen me and Najee do it on our own, like, microcosm on the block in Oakland on the street level. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but you say cancel culture, and I think a part of it is really this internalized wokeism. And I hate to say it because woke used to be a good word.
Yeah, it did.
But I think it's like cancel culture is like a byproduct of a real mentality that people are starting to be I don't know, like brainwashed, mesmerized, hypnotized, just confused because people think they're doing something righteous and good, but they're acting extreme. Like it's all extremism behavior to me. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you know what I
the
mean?
first person I heard stay woke from was this speaker and journalist named Angela Rye, who is just, you know, she's a commenter on the news. She's a speaker. She's just somebody that was real smart, somebody I really enjoy listening to. So I heard it first from Angela Rye. So of course I was like taking it seriously, but then something can just become so overused. I mean, it kind of loses meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being overused, it's Erykah Badu is where I remember I stay woke. But
okay.
Once yes, overused, but like people act like words don't mean something. Like people don't agree to definitions of words. We swear we want to debate everything, but we don't have no rules of a debate. And in real life, if you ever taken a debate class at a junior college introductory level, at least that's the least that I did, you at least have to agree to definitions, and we don't even care what words mean no more. We'll say the word, but give it some whole other meaning and engage with it like that's what it means. And I'm a hard line type of person when it comes to certain stuff. And this is just another way where I'm like, I don't want to talk to you if you're gonna conflate something with something else and then act hella arrogant about it. Like, what are we even talking about? Woke was good, but now I guess it ain't. It's literally the opposite because people don't adhere to what words mean.
That happened with the word politically correct. That used to mean something like way back, and then it just kind of became something to just be used sarcastically.
Well, what did it mean before, and what did you see as far as how it changed?
When I was, this is the 90s. That's what, and so what I remember it meaning in this social sense in the early 90s was just being more aware and conscious of what you were saying and what diversity meant, and being what it meant to me at the time, you know, when I was young, was that it meant looking beyond. It meant looking at language more critically. It meant when you were to me, it just meant very much so looking for what you're not being told, looking for who's not being represented, how is something not complete, that you're only getting part of the story. That's what it meant back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like behind the veil.
Yeah. And that's what diversity meant back in the early 90s. That it, you know, it meant that you know, that you needed that. I mean, and I just went to a shitty ass school with like no real requirements anyway. I think it would have made more of an impression on people that went to more traditional colleges that, I mean, just real important things, discovering, well, shit. I mean, the word discover is extremely problematic because it centers whomever is finding out about something. You know, it quite often means a white person finding out something that people of color have always known about. So, but you know, I don't, we can start picking apart the language forever, but yeah, making more, what's huge for me as somebody that loves to read is, going out there and finding more books and more voices and more music and theater and film. So that's what it's meant to me, very much so, to try and broaden voices and be aware that you need to take initiative, that you're not getting, if you're passive, you're not going to get the full story.
And PC, politically correct. You know, I was born in the 90s, 92.
Yeah.
So my memory of post what you're speaking to and what I associate with the politically correct is like the sanitized it's so funny because this is very far from what you just said. It's like the sanitized version of the truth, the part the what you sell to the people or what you say so you don't get like in trouble. It almost fits with the whole idea of what's woke and what's not, like what's politically correct versus what's like unacceptable. So that's crazy. That's kind of crazy. That's very, very far departure.
Wow. Yeah, it sure is. And yeah, that is interesting. Because it did seem like it changed over time. And then I meet people your age that went to college and high school and were still assigned all white male writers. And I was like, what happened? I thought some of this shit was being figured out when I was in college. Yeah.
That makes me think of going back to this word discovery. I find so a couple things. Like Najee, I'm an artist. Like Najee, I'm also an educator, and we both have paired our arts education, hip hop education, whatever. So I have always worked with young people, and then the last few years is when I started to. It was like two separate worlds for me. Like I'm an artist and I do things in community, and I work with young people. And it was all about, for me, I knew when I was a young person, I went through things that were the hardest things I had gone through at that time, that I needed like good, positive, uplifting, or even like people who are curious about what was going on with me, adults around me. Sometimes I had that, sometimes I had the opposite. So I was like, I'm gonna work with kids so I can be there for them in a real way, like I need it. And so when I merged the arts part, because I used writing and I used poetry and rap as a way to soothe myself and to figure things out for myself. And that's how I grew both of those parts of me at the same time. When I merged them together, as far as like what I do on a regular basis, I often would say like, all I want for young people is arts is a creative expression, is like a discovery zone, but it's you're discovering. And really the organization I was with and even the classes I got to do with them, I did a lot of different things: visual art, creative writing, movement. I love that we offered so many different things, because then that's when I use the word all the time, exploration. Like you're exploring these different things, but the object of discovery was always self, and like knowledge of self and understanding of self. And so, you can't colonize that, because you had to just grapple with that you are your own primary source. So, I feel what you're saying on a like macro external level, but I really love the idea of balancing these things and always recognizing that the macro and the micro exist at the same time. And I think that is where nuance is, and that is where we get confused, especially on the internet, when we discuss things in only one of those ways. You know what I mean? One word that I really don't like the discourse around, and I want to know what y'all think about this, is this word privilege. What do y'all think? I can go off, but I want to know, like, what is this because this seems like a common ass word too. Woke, privilege, political correctness.
I want to go first because I can like.
I think it's more of who it's used on and how it's used than it is just blatantly use it. It's anybody can consider to be privileged to anybody in a certain way. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's because you're a male, so that's male privilege. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go.
That's how they be acting like it is, but what you just said is the realest shit that you could say about it. To me. Go ahead, though.
It's a word that needs context, because there's white privilege, and like, okay, yeah, that exists. I think the meaning, that meaning should be pretty clear, but like, okay, when you're talking about economics and opportunity, to me, the word privilege would mean having an advantage within the world that you're in. So like, say if a bunch of people are trying to get into the same college and somebody has a relative there that gives them a leg up. So it would make more sense to have it, like, I know people that are, people will look at it like, oh yeah, having food and shelter is a privilege. Like, no, I don't think that's a privilege. I think that's a right. And that the fact that too many people don't have that does not make it a privilege. So it's not having and not having.
Yeah, see, like what she said, I kind of would disagree on the fact, see, that could be, to some people who don't have food or shelter, to ones that do, that could be considered a privilege in their mind because they've never had it or haven't had it enough. So that could be considered a privilege, but I understand how you're saying it too, that that's a right and you should have it. But for a person that doesn't have it, to them, that might be considered a privilege.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's crazy because I feel like this is like an academic, yes, I went to City College for 12 semesters, but I noticed that for people around me, around my age, who graduated, got their degrees, whatever, but didn't really go through certain hardships as they grew up as a person, that they would use this type of language and words and relate to concepts such as this in such an academic way. And it's almost like, at a certain point, like your whole concept comes to an end, because for you to even have this conversation about who has and has not, when you are a have person trying to explain to me about it, it's like I know shit experientially and spiritually, so I didn't have to go read it or have somebody teach it to me. And I feel like, woke people be coming with the knowledge because they just discovered this shit academically. And so when I hear these conversations, it's like, there's something that I do is called reevaluation co-counseling. And it's just, that's a whole thing, but I love it so much. And a part of something that I came to through the practice of co-counseling was that everyone could have an oppressor pattern. Yeah. To me, the conversation of what your privilege is, or what power you have or advantage you have, is only relevant to how you relate to people around you. Mm-hmm. Like, we shouldn't foster ill will towards people who have more than we have, because the nature of capitalism in our society is somebody's at the bottom and then there are people all the way until you get to the top. And if we're confused about the fact that we're all on the bottom, then we're not going to get clear on what the goal is, which is to undermine this structure of our society. And so if you are someone on this level down here, but you raise a child, for example, as a parent, you can be very oppressive what the fuck ever you want to call it, parent supremacy. I don't care what you call it. The behavior is oppressive. If you're an educator, like I'm kind of like that. I expect my child to do what I say when I say it. Obey what I'm saying. If I say it more than once, like, I'm in charge. I'm in charge. That's really something that I really internalized. Even when I was a big sister for the first time, I was 10 when my little brother was born. And I'm like, oh, you did something wrong. Like, I have to hit you. And then my mom literally had to say to me, like, no, Monty, you have to teach him. You don't just hit him for things. You teach him. Like, he doesn't know. And that was so profound to me. And the truth is, like, he didn't come in here willingly. Like, he's the product of what adults chose to do. And so we actually owe him a lot more than expectation of obedience. And so, this is just one example in one way, but like, if we're going to talk about privilege, like, what do you use the privilege that you have with patterns of oppression? Do you enact those patterns against people, or do you see yourself and other people's humanity on the same level? And if you don't, then you have work to do on you. And most of us learn things that would land us in the position where we have to do that work on our own oppressor patterns, as we call it in RC. If that's not the conversation, I don't want to hear it. How do you use your privilege? If you have it, it might be good because you might be helping people out. You know what I mean? It's just my note, my comments.
Huh. Really interesting. Well, that is one reason I prefer I prefer to use. That's one reason I think blessed is such a great word. That's self-defined, and people, you can be blessed in all different circumstances because it's self-determined.
Self-determination.
So, yeah. I mean, to me, I always feel blessed. I feel very blessed. I feel blessed that my needs are met, and that is, other stuff is, after that stuff is extra, I guess. So, and that is wherever I am. If I'm around people that have less than me, if I'm around people that have more than me, just blessed, So, but if you're, I don't know, there's different things you figure out, like in a social in a social way, but I don't know. I think it's just so important to be able to have conversations, like you are and like Najee has, about stuff, because it's complicated, and we do have different interpretations of what things mean, and
Blessed. One time I was I was at a bus stop, and a friend of somebody who used to be a friend of mine, who I used to love to freestyle with and be hella creative with, we were sitting there, and I was waiting for him to get picked up. And then this man came by. We had just walked down, we were on Telegraph, where Telegraph and Broadway meet, but we were going down towards, like the freeway and whatever. So we had just looked at this new restaurant that opened, that was new, went in, kind of got a rude reaction. I'm like, well, bitch, I've been here. You just moved in here. I was coming to say welcome, but now I'm a Yelp about you, that fact that you're racist. And then we went and saw the, like, one thing that's still there that's not new. And it's like a beauty supply, but it has it's closed, and it has graffiti all over it. Although I'm surprised no one has knocked it down, because everything else around it has been knocked down and made to something new, but that's not. And I said to him, that's not gonna be there forever. Like, we better take a picture of this beautiful graffiti abandoned beauty supply store, because it's gonna be gone. And then we sat at the bus stop, and I was waiting with him. And then this man came by with a shopping cart full of his things. We're not at a grocery store, so he just kept his stuff in a shopping cart, and we were freestyling, and he was like, hey, I like that, y'all, whoop-de-whoop, like, y'all creative, that's great, woo, 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 woo. And I was like, well, what you want to, he said, that's great, you got a song on your heart, like, so you're freestyling at the bus stop. And I was like, well, what song you got on your heart? And he just went into this whole fucking, it sounded like a gospel song. He was like, you asked me how I'm living, I'm blessed. Yes, I said I'm blessed. And he just kept going off about being blessed. This is like a person whose all his belongings are in a shopping cart. And it was the best shit ever. Like, it was so good. You asked me how I'm living, I'm blessed. And it made me think now, like, you know, everybody has a song on their heart, you know, whether they're going to sing it or not, but it's there. Like, what is the heart singing at the moment, really? That was the best shit ever.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I remember like volunteering. You know, I mean, I was volunteering at a food pantry, and some lady was like coming through. You know, she was unhoused and like saying, you know, I'm blessed to get this food, and I'm like, wow, yeah, amazing. Yeah.
And you could say that if you tend to pay attention to or notice what's going well in your life in the moment more often than someone who is not paying attention, like, that is advantageous mentally, you know, mentally privileged. Like, that's advantageous for human beings, I think.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, Amani, so I would like to hear some of your music. Can you take a break? So Rosal was going to play some. Can you hang out with us till he was going to put some on? So can you hang out with us a little longer?
Hell yeah. Is it already 9? I mean, is it already 10? I don't know.
We just would like to hear some of it. It's only 9:25. So yeah.
Yay.
Cool. Okay, Calvin and Karen, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back shortly because we can't play music on fucking Facebook. Okay, thank you, you guys. Cool.
Codependent, can't regret it. Where I had depending on it. Could've came it without craving. Been so anxious, genuine and rewinding the plays. Fingering cassette tape as Bicon lay beats down. Make my frowns foreign currency. Finally exercise demons that didn't occur to me. Becoming free became a courtesy. I do it through music. Black women's liberation, co-counseling. It keeps me fluent to this recreational reckoning. Investigating heck of things, journalistic reflectioning on what gets the best of me or got it. Can't no more because I caught it. Capture all red flags, my sins absolve it. Ain't no more falling victim to old stress, and now I gotta keep abreast of my blessings. Check up on my chest and wait on it. No more holding breath when hiccup, don't wait on it. Cause I got grace now. For what I wasn't proud, my head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a whisper. Because I got grace now. For what I wasn't proud, my head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a strong black woman gene. Becoming a familiar like stranger things when I'm strengthening my boundaries and creating these beautiful internal harmonies and escaping start role of a runaway of the coldest. Oh no, I'm not a slave. Turn getaway to a getaway. Gotta give when I overtake, take back when I overgive. I don't wanna die, no, I wanna live. I want for you what I cannot give, and no ego prosper. I found out I can't heal you. I can heal me, but enabling might kill you in the long run. Start race with a shotgun. finish line, my funeral, obituary. I hope you make it. I can't take you, I can't take it. I take patience like self. Breathe with me. I don't take patience like who need kidney. Nah, I ain't kidding. Need to be with the kid in me. Couldn't even keep the kid in me. No shame and no blame, just claim responsibility. What it mean is great power, like every hour in the effort. Great, come to myself in from a place called Self Central, so credential straight. Race now for what I wasn't proud. My head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a whisper because I got grace now. For what I wasn't proud, my head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a whisper because I got grace now. Grace now. For what I wasn't proud, my head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a whisper because I got grace now. For what I wasn't proud, my head won't stay down. I love me resiliently and more loud. All I lost to find out gets drowned out and becomes a whisper. It's that I'm contemplating life through the lens of death. Sleepless nights begging for a rest. Cardiac is sped up from dreams gone bad. Hot sweat on a platter, queen size with a ladder and a pea underneath. Is this how it be? An eternal sleep without repentance. Better get started, hot some water, light a candle and go far in. As far as time's concerned, it's a blood. All I'm in is all there is. This moment in the making of it, better intend on my creations. Cause when I'm creeping through my back doors, distractors get what I asked for without paying attention. So it's stole from me. I wanted deep sleep in my place. I squeeze parables between a few bars just to get space. They got a hold on me. Went to my highest mirror and it told on me. How you doing? Nah, how you been? What happened to you, cuz? That's all I'm seeing. So how was your hearing? Better check the rhymes, Q-tip, and follow advice from this chick. Like, how you doing? Nah, how you been? What happened to you, cuz? That's all I'm seeing. So how was your hearing? Better check the rhymes, Q-tip. So you better check the rhyme. No guess about the quest to be daylight, my soul. Middle of the body, above woman sacral. Some patterns sacred, so many stay old. Once you told yourself the truth about you, stay faithful. Fake feeling may be seeming so appealing when it's real at first. So nourishing until you die in the thirst. Backstroke, blind eye, see skies, no signs up ahead. Clear water turn into quicksand. Traveling land with no roots to guide. Scaling rocky terrain with no new boots to buy. No money anyway, on the best and now lost. Being unintentional and powerful, it's the cost. Who you finna cross, God in the flesh being. Pictures painted when I meditated, I've seen. Written word predicated on what I was keeping. The bigger inner self spitting game when she was speaking like, how you doing? Nah, how you been? What happened to you, cuz? That's all I'm seeing. So how was your hearing? Better check the rhymes, Q-tip, and follow advice from this chick. Like, how you doing? Nah, how you been? What happened to you, cuz? That's all I'm seeing. So how was your hearing? Better check the rhymes, Q-tip. I said you better check the rhymes.
Yeah. And it's Historical Podcast Radio. That was that Armani Jade.
There we go.
And that Grace. We got two more that are coming on towards the end. So ready to rock this, Anna? You ready to do this again?
Yeah, sure am. Wow, what a treat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amani. I mean, shoot, blessed, privilege, I mean, it makes me real happy just to have the opportunity to meet people that are making music and hear it. And I have a question about, aren't you part of a collective?
Well, I want to know what you was looking at on the internet. Your sources. I used to be a part this is so first of all, thank you, Roselle, okay, for playing the slaps, DJ. I respect the DJ so much. Thank you. and Anna for all the praise and inviting me and snooping on the internet. Yes. I used to be a part of a collective. We were called the Women's Creative Collective.
Yeah. It's on your profile. It's public.
I know, but it's like it's like such a chapter. And we used to do this thing called the Sistar Cipher. Now, I hosted that part, so I'm kind of like about to revamp what Sistar Cipher is because it was just so important and special to me. But what had happened was Najee used to have the Oakland Mind Cipher. And it was every week, and it was on 15th and Harrison, we call it on the block. And he was just ciphering, freestyling with people. This is back in 2014 when I first went, I think. And then so I went and I pulled up, and then it was just somebody just somebody looked like Roselle's little cousin was just rapping or whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, because I always been, like I told y'all, I've been writing since I've been a young kid, but raps or whatever, but I never freestyled before, which is just come up with the dope, because follow the beat and flow the consciousness. And so after that, I was like, okay, I have to try before I leave. Like, that's the type of spirit I got. I got to try before I go. And I went back and back and back and back. And that was history. I can still freestyle, but Najee is the master. And I got the writtens, as you just heard. I'm a better writer, but he is the better freestyler. We agree on that. So, love the Oakland Mind Cipher. It's great. One day, several women that I know came and had a really bad experience. And word got around that, like, this is not the place for women to be because they're hella competitive and rude. Whoop-de-whoop, not Najee, but his main people that he was with. And so we complained to them basically. And I remember somebody who used to be like a main person next to Najee pulled me aside and was like, Mani, like, you gotta tell them, like, you're a good rapper, so you talk to them about why, like, how they need to be better, and you should be the person to tell them. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you got me fucked up. First of all, like, I'm not a spokesperson for women, and I'm not a go-between for you and women. You're a human adult. Have a conversation. You're not about to pit me against people. I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so, Najee heard about it, and then they tried to do this ladies' night thing for redemption, and it just was like the fucked up icing on the fucked up cake because it went so horrible. And he wasn't even there. He left it to his terrible people that was next to him who want to be the next best rapper, who ain't nowhere now. Fast forward 2021, they're nowhere. So that night that they tried to do a makeup with ladies' night and failed miserably is when me and several other women were like, let's do a cipher our own, right? It'll be like this, but it'll be by us for everyone. And that is how we kind of came together, was to rectify the situation which they created, which was just not, we needed more as far as our community. And so we had the Oakland Mind Cipher where you can go be hella competitive, which still went. They came, they showed us love. It was we were like brother and sister organizations. And then ours, which was, if this is your first time, that's the best thing ever because you just did some shit that you ain't never did, which is freestyle, which is a big fucking deal. Like, it was all about celebrating the courage to express. And it wasn't just a cipher, it was an open mic, and then we had a dance party, and then we had a cipher. So whatever you wanted, we had it. People was bringing their kids, we had grandparents, we had poets, singers, comedians come to the open mic, rappers. I was the host of the cipher, so I loved doing that. And it was just a golden era. It was just so good. It was good. And in no way did I ever think that me and Najee would be together, but technically we did the same exact thing for men and women in the community at the same time, and it was really cool.
Wow. I mean, I hope it doesn't feel like snooping for me, if I'm going to work with somebody or invite, like, to me, I would just feel like, to me, it's just kind of real disrespectful if you like invite somebody on your show and don't try and find out anything about it.
Okay, I agree. And I respect that. I like that. I love that. I respect that. You know, everyone likes to.
Yeah.
It's a difference between, it's how you relate to people. Like, either you interested and curious about people or you not. And that's how you make friends.
Oh yeah. You know, I mean, if I'm gonna work with somebody on a project, or yeah, you know, I mean, I just think it's, yeah, good.
And that's why your show is lit, because you got the real news. You're a real source.
Thank you. That's so sweet. We have our friend Trika who has been listening. Trika's part of Roselle's network. I know, because Roselle has like 4 different podcasts going, and then Trika's is Know Better, Do Better. There's mine, there's Duck Soup, there's Happy Hour. So yeah. Would you consider it a network, Roselle?
I don't know, a group of friends that just all got together.
Okay.
All came together to do our own podcast. That's what I consider. I don't know if a network yet, or
yeah.
I'd have to get with all y'all and see what y'all would want to call it.
Yeah.
Podcast collective.
There you go. Oh. Remember that name. What you just said. I like that.
That definitely is. So Amani, when you went to school, do you feel like, how do you feel about your education? Do you feel like you saw yourself represented in books, or did you feel seen, or did you feel acknowledged for your world and your reality?
That is such a good question. There's a couple things I think about when I think of going to City College. One, City College is of San Francisco is like everybody and their grandma went to City College. They could have went at the same time, because that's the demographic. It's all type of people, so that's pretty dope. Yeah. And I also felt that like the education or learning that you get, that you pay for, is obviously exponentially so much greater than that you get for free from K through 12. Yeah. Which I think is a shame. But you know, also like at a certain point, you can be a student in your life. You can study, and that's what you make me think of, because you literally come and you share about things that you are like regularly engaging in to keep your shit sharp. So that's why I respect that. You just made me think of this one time where I was in a political science class, and this is where like I was like, damn, this is some real shit. Like, shit is crooked. Like, capitalism in America is like, it's crooked. Like, it's crazy how fucking crooked the shit really is. And the old white dude who was the teacher, I was in there with a bunch of people who are also football players, and they must have always been like about to go to practice right after, because they were dressed up in their football uniforms or whatever, and they obviously had a camaraderie or whatever. I'm not gonna be like they're stereotypical or whatever, but they just were the football team who had to take the political science class. So maybe they cared about it, maybe they didn't, but I was hella into it. Like, yeah, this is interesting. He wanted to discuss whether or not the people who caused the 2008 collapse were like, are they just criminals, or is there more to it? And I'm sure he wanted to have us think critically about all the factors and this, like how you're socialized in this position of power and money and yachts and cocaine and women with no clothes and whatever, like, and how easy it is to just lose your head and social, whatever the fuck. And none of it mattered to me. Like, you know, you're doing fucked up shit, and you're conscious of it. Yes, you're a fucked up individual. Like, I don't, whatever. But I was very vocal about that stuff. And one day he took me aside after class, and there was probably one of the football players was Black. And he just said to me, like, you know, you're so sharp and all of this shit. It felt like you're so well spoken. It felt like that. But then he fucked up like the other dude in the Oakland mine. He was like, why aren't other black students, like, what do you think it is? And why do they say the N-word all the time? And how come you can do it, but they're not able? And I just couldn't believe the lack of awareness that he had to pull me aside to try. I guess he thought he was giving me a compliment, obviously, but I was like, you are no better. And you mean well. And to me, that's almost worse. Because I thought maybe you were someone who wasn't, like that maybe you were different. But you really gave old disconnected white dude who really thought you could come fucking tell me and ask me about why other black students don't do what I do.
And
why don't you fucking talk to them?
Why are you teaching in a fucking community college if you're gonna look at your students in such a narrow, pejorative way? I mean, and if you're gonna, because when you were first talking, I mean, I was thinking, a lot of like young people were out demonstrating. I mean, that seems like a great thing to be discussing in a political science course, that it would be very to interest and engage students. So
it was
cool. And then like, wow.
And then he just fucked it all up.
Sure did.
And there you go, like on an external kind of bigger level, yeah, the class was great, the material was great. He was hella passionate, he's like, I walked in the civil rights.
Oh yeah.
I walked with them.
I'm off the hook for the
he was hella passionate, but also he was so far away on an interpersonal level. You really just don't understand what you're running towards me. And maybe had I had a better or like a longer relationship with him, maybe I could have explained to him like how
responsibility at all.
How much he missed the mark.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. And to be honest, like, I'm a mixed heritage person. I am related to old, elderly, what you would call white people on some sides of my family. And even the person my mom married is technically a white guy. They come from the same place, so they act very similarly, but technically he's white. So it's just like, this is kind of out there, I think. But this whole idea that you should go by what people do or believe when they show you who they are, not necessarily what they say out of their mouth. Ooh, I'm about to tie it all together. Watch. Journey is about to come back. Discovery about to come back. Watch how I'm about to tie it all in. What particularly these situations, and even like I said, I didn't have a close relationship with him, but I have close relationship with different people who are white, including my stepdad, who is very loving, take care. Like his actions are of love. His words at times have not been. And so when it comes to when people say ignorant shit to you, obviously you want to be like, you just showed me that you're an ignorant ass person or whatever, and you're bullshit, you're full of shit. But what people's behavior is and what they demonstrate and act out needs to carry weight, and that even goes on the flip side. Because I'm coming around to this idea that people are only reflecting the level of thinking that they're at the time, and people have to constantly be given the room to explore what they think and why they think it, and change their mind and grow their mind. We cannot afford as a people to put people's minds in boxes. And if people behave and act out something greater than what they say, sometimes you have to find a way to recognize that that's a thing and appreciate it. And I'm saying this because I've had big ass fights with my stepdad, verbal altercations, and if we'll go at it and be screaming at each other. And after his behavior changes, but he never says, I thought about what you said. He'll never tell me, I thought about what you said, and I think he'll just do it. And that is meaningful and purposeful. I appreciate that very deeply. And that political science teacher might have done something else, but what he was doing still was good, even though he's thinking it wasn't together all the way. You know what I mean? So, yeah, believe what people do. Don't always take what they say at face value, because one day it'll catch up. There are a lot of people who one of them is going to catch up with the next one, and you have to keep that grace and that availability. You know what I mean? People always use that in a negative way. Like, I don't care if you say good things, show me good things. But people give so much of a fuck if you say bad things. Like, Dave Chappelle is a good ass example of that to me. Because the story he told at the end, like, bitch, I'm really real friends with people. You can really be real friends with people. You can really have good relationships with people. And you don't actually, you know what I mean? You got to catch up mentally. Or you're at where you're at, and that should be okay. You can respect people and love people even if you don't understand them or you don't like something about them.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was a friend of mine, I know a friend of mine was hanging out with another comic friend of hers who's a drag queen, and who was just, in her attitude about the whole Dave Chappelle thing was like, he put her on stage, okay? And this drag queen, her comedy is too much for me, man. I mean, she's she's made jokes about like child abuse. I mean, I'm like, no, but I'm not gonna like tell everybody to shut her down, and I'm going to appreciate her as a person. I mean, she's that's not for me. I'm like, no, I can't go there with comedy, but I'm not going to write her off as a person. She's a great person. So, yeah. But yeah, because when my friend was telling me that, I was like, oh yeah, man, I remember Lady Buddy said I was like, she said what? Like she's joking about kidnapped children, but I mean, comedy is yeah. So
you gotta have that space.
Yeah.
Do you know, maybe you are yourself this type of person, not is this type of person, anytime something very serious is happening, distressing, he'll just try to make something funny about it. Just try to make a joke about it. He ain't Chappelle, but he is always making jokes about shit. And I notice, especially when things are like emotionally distressing, like the type of shit where you could be like, rather than shut your brain, I almost feel like comedy is just one of those things about our resilient spirit and our brain trying to save itself, where you deal with something you can deal with, because or we can be miserable about the fucked up shit, but if you can't do something about it, like
that's upsetting me all the time, but not when somebody else is talking to me about being upset, not about other people's feelings.
Right.
But yeah, about me all the fucking time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just how I think.
Good point.
Or now she did. Yeah.
So that's important. It is another way of coping to make jokes about things.
Yeah.
And I think I was thinking this the other day, like if people only made jokes about things that were relevant to their life experience, I think it would still be great. I think the comedy scene would still be hella good. But it's not like Dave Chappelle wasn't talking about things he experienced. He really had relationships with people who he was trying to wrap his mind around, you know? If you have if you have relationships with people, it's too much. People don't trust him. You can just tell when people don't trust. It doesn't matter what you're saying. I don't trust you, so you have bad intentions. That's what canceling people is like.
Yeah. And to me, it's like Dave Chappelle's going to be fine, but it concerns me very much with younger and new people that are earlier in their career. That concerns me very much because I think, that can artists, musicians, comedians. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are in real fear of being canceled, and that's a big, and academics get canceled. So yeah, that really concerns me. I'm not concerned about Chappelle, but there's a lot of that happening in universities. I mean, there's people whose creativity is inhibited. So yeah, that is a big concern. I mean, really upsetting, and real hard. I mean, it's real hard to see if you're going to see somebody's career or life get dashed because somebody else is offended. And then and the potential to smear what you can do to somebody's reputation on the internet. I mean, it's really, that's real hard. I mean, yeah.
And it's weird because it's not like in the beginning of the whole canceling stuff, and really like I connected it with Me Too movement. It was to me like I didn't see where the slippery slope that it was.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, you organize and you boycott something. But it is not that. It is like the opposite of what it takes to be organized and boycott things. And it really is a concerted effort to attack people's character and minimize circumstances and lack context, and also be involved in shit that has nothing to do with you. Like, it's so what it is like the internet version, which means people do things because they're opportunistic, because your appearance on the internet is very important to you.
Oh yeah.
And that is fucked up, because to me, all I think is mental health problems. That's all I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in public shaming and threats, and you can fuck up and the whole world will know about it. And that's hard. That's, do something. I've done dumb stuff. I've done stuff that's embarrassing. I mean, not very often, but
once in a blue moon. Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, and it's we got to have you back, Amani. I mean, because we haven't played all your songs, and I'm just enjoying, we're having so much fun talking. But back to accountability and cancel and woke and PC. Some stuff's good. I mean, some stuff is good when people are being held accountable. And I'm real happy to see. I'm happy to see somebody like Chris Cuomo. Good. Well, see, that was sort of that's what I was saying last night with with Monique and stuff. I was like, hey, I don't care, man. If the world is already unfair, anything she can get, I'm pleased. So, you know, in an unjust system, anything that anybody that's been discriminated against can get, I'm like, yeah, you know, it's not about this one thing, it's about the whole picture. So, yeah.
Najee brought that up today and he was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about, John Brown.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the kind of people I want around me if they ain't black.
Oh, yeah, that was like, where did the whole conversation? That was like that should be can white people be funny? That was funny. You know who I would have brought up also in that conversation was John Oliver, because I think he makes good points. I think he's really funny, and I think he's kind. Because there's comedians that I think, I don't like like, to me, Dave, and again, I'm not trans, Dave Chappelle I don't think he's mean. I would like to meet him. I mean, there's some comedians to me that are just such sneering, nasty people, you know, I hate that. I don't even want to meet them. But I mean, I always think like to me, I would describe John Oliver as like somebody you get to a party, you're like, oh good, John's here. So,
what's something, if I had to look him up to see his face, I'll probably know. Or what's a reference? Can you give me a reference?
Partially, he's kind of like my show. He finds really weird stuff. He did this whole thing, expose on Miss America, a thing about how chickens are farmed, about pomegranate juice, about Dr. Oz, and he's very socially conscious. I think, and I think he's a white person that makes very good points about race while staying in his lane. He doesn't pretend to be who he's not. He doesn't come off as like I said, like, oh, I'm a better white person than all you other white. I mean, yeah, so I mean, I just think he kind of has this nerdy persona, which I really like. So he did a whole thing about pennies. You'll see why he likes weird offbeat stuff. And yeah, he definitely seems like he'd be a really cool person. And yeah, I feel like he makes real good I feel like he's very pro women. So yeah.
That's what's up.
It can be hard to be socially conscious and funny too. That can be rough. So yeah. Wow, this has been such a pleasure, Amani. Do you want to let our audience know where to find you?
Yes, you can look up Amani Jade everywhere. It's evenmedium.com if you like to read articles. I've been getting on my writing game because obviously I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. So
I'm on Medium. I will definitely look you up.
Yeah, Amani Jade everywhere, anywhere, especially musically.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, we didn't get to play all your music, but we will again. And like I said, Gazelle has a whole collective. So
okay, podcast collective.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed our talk, and we'll have to do it again. Gazelle, do you have any announcements?
No, not really.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you to all of our, yeah. I'm sure you'll meet Trika one of these days, part of the podcast. She's made some Trika Williams, We Still in Jim Crow Times, Just Hidden in Plain Sight. White men are so disconnected, ignorance. Yes. Got to create your own lane. Yes. Basically. Yeah. Basically, Trika's awesome. Trika's Know Better, Do Better, which is every other Thursday.
On YouTube?
Yeah, on this channel.
Yep, on this channel.
Perfect.
Yeah, Roz Joy 76. You'll see all the shows.
I be here. I'ma subscribe.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool then. Okay. Night, everyone. Brazil, can you stay on for just a minute after a minute?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Night, Facebook.
All right, bye. I'm gonna go use this bar, y'all.